Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
And that breaking news right now, Raleigh police are at a shopping center near Capitol Boulevard. We'll take you out to that investigation coming up. Also, a second ICE shooting. Federal agents in Minneapolis shot a man in the leg. New information and reaction this morning as tensions remain high in Minnesota.
And today is a day of big change weather-wise. We had a cold front move through last night. Today will be cold and windy, and we could see temperatures into the teens by this time tomorrow.
Also, murder trial testimony. Today, court resumes in the trial of a man accused of killing 2 teens. What's expected after an emotional day in that courtroom. It's 4:30. You're up early with us, and we so appreciate that. I'm Ken Smith. Let's get over to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Tracking another cold morning, Elizabeth.
It is, and temperatures right now 36 in Roxborough, 43 Southern Pines, 44 in Goldsboro. So it's not that different from what we saw this time yesterday. But what is different is we're going to see a big blast of cold air that comes in today. So temperatures this afternoon could be even colder than this. If you remember last Sunday, it started kind of mild, and then the wind really started to pick up and temperatures fell. That's really kind of what we're going to see today. So temperatures will be dropping between now and 8 or 9 o'clock, most likely down to freezing. And then we're just going to hold it in the upper 30s, and we are looking definitely at breezy conditions for today. We jump ahead and take a look at the weekend. Sunday in particular, we're watching for the potential of a coastal low. Depending on its position, it could bring us an increasing chance of wintry weather on Sunday. We'll take a closer look at that coming up.
Elizabeth, thanks. Right now, we're following some breaking news, as we just mentioned. Raleigh police investigating at a shopping center. Let's get right to WRAL's Ali Kadlabar in the WRAL breaking news tracker on Calvary Drive off Capitol Boulevard. Ali, what can you tell us at this point?
Well, right now, I did reach out to Raleigh police. They say that this is a developing scene. They say to check back with them in 30 minutes because they're really just trying to piece together what happened. But here's what we're seeing. We're seeing multiple police officers here they were talking to a group of people underneath that Golden 5 sign. It also says Sky Blue Internet Cafe underneath as well. They were talking to about a handful of people just moments ago, and then they all dispersed. And so we are seeing some officers start to leave the scene. Now, we are just working to find out just what happened here, why officers were called out here, and if anybody got hurt. We did see an ambulance leave the scene. They didn't have their lights on, but we're working to find out if anybody was in there and injured. Of course, we are keeping you updated throughout the morning. Reporting live in Raleigh, Ali Kadlabar, WRAL News.
All right, Ali, thanks. We want to turn our attention now to the tensions remaining high in Minneapolis after a second shooting by an ICE agent in that city. That man is in the hospital after being shot in the leg just over a week after another ICE agent shot and killed Renee Good. The Department of Homeland Security says agents are trying to conduct a traffic stop of a Venezuelan man, and Homeland says was in the country illegally. DHS says the man drove off and crashed into a parked car before running away. An agent went after that man, and DHS says the man assaulted that agent. DHS also says 2 people from a nearby apartment joined the struggle and hit the agent with a snow shovel and broom handle. The man who was shot is expected to be okay. The 2 people who got involved are in custody. Minneapolis mayor posting on Facebook overnight saying, "I have seen the conduct from ICE that is intolerable, and for anyone taking the bait tonight, stop. It is not helpful. We cannot respond to Donald Trump's chaos with our own chaos." Back here at home in Raleigh, people gathered in Moore Square last night to honor Renee Good. There have been several vigils and protests all across the Triangle following her death. Well, today we'll hear more witness testimony in the trial of Isaiah Woods in Orange County. He's accused of killing 2 teens back in 2022. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is live outside the Orange County Courthouse this morning. And Kelsey, we heard from the victim's parents during an emotional first day of testimony.
Yes, Ken, we did, and we're just hours away from hearing new testimony here inside the Orange County Courthouse. Let's give you a rundown of everything we know from the first day of trial. Isaiah Ross's attorneys say one of the 2 teenage victims he's accused of killing was the aggressor, claiming Ross was acting in self-defense. Several people took to the witness stand, including the people who found the bodies and Orange County Sheriff's Office employees. We also heard from the victims, Lyric Woods and Devin Clark's parents. They recalled the last time they saw their children.
so far-fetched that somebody would want to hurt her.
A lot of emotional moments there yesterday, and the trial continues this morning at 9:30. We'll have a crew here in the courtroom, and you can follow along every step of the way on WRAL.com. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Orange County.
Well, listen, your drive in the downtown area could look a little different this morning. Road closures are going to be in place as construction gets underway around the Raleigh Convention Center. This map shows street closures that will be in place. 2 lanes on McDowell Street are blocked off from Immature Jr. Boulevard exit ramp to West Cabarrus Street. 1 lane will remain open. The city recommends using Wilmington Street to get around that closure. Now, this comes more than a month after authorities say a mechanical failure caused a fire on the roof of the Raleigh Convention Center. Today, a crane will be set up on McDowell Street to remove the damaged roof and other equipment. Crews will then put in temporary AC units. The road closure is set to last through Sunday. Today, a former Sampson County police chief accused of secret keeping is expected in court 1 day after Greg Warren resigned from his position as the Newton Grove police chief. He's charged with secret keeping and taking indecent liberties with a minor. Court documents show he's accused of going into a victim's bedroom and taking photos of that victim while that person was asleep. Warren will be in court for a bond review hearing around 9 o'clock later this morning. Following some breaking news right now, in the last hour, Crew 11 splashed down off the coast of California. The crew was forced to leave the International Space Station early. NASA says one of the astronauts had a medical emergency which prompted the early return to Earth, I should say. Now, only 3 staff members are working on the International Space Station. You may have been involved with this. Verizon cell users, well, you have your service back this morning after more than 100,000 customers lost service during a nationwide outage. We received dozens of emails from you saying your service went down for hours. According to downdetector.com, it started around noon yesterday. Customers reported seeing an SOS mode on their phone. Now, that meant they were only able to call 911. There were also reported problems with AT&T and T-Mobile. Spokespeople for both networks say the services are operating normally this morning. Verizon says all affected customers will receive credits to their accounts. So listen, we received plenty of tips about this story through the reported link on WRAL.com. So if you see breaking news, have a story tip, or shoot video or pictures of inclement weather, share it with us. Go to WRAL.com/reported. Law enforcement in the Triangle were involved in 3 high-speed chases in the span of about 8 hours. The first one happened around 6 o'clock yesterday morning in Wake County. Deputies tried to pull someone over for a license plate violation on I-540 near Falls of Neuse Road. The pursuit went down US 70, ending in Durham. The driver and passenger got out and ran. Deputies are still looking for one of those men. Now, there was a second chase in Knightdale. Sky 5 captured a man in handcuffs receiving medical treatment, as you can see right here. The driver hit 2 law enforcement vehicles before the chase ended on Spectrum Drive. And the third chase unfolded in Durham. It ended with a man taking off after that chase. Sky 5 spotted a man running through a parking lot and into the woods on Sudbury Road. 18-year-old Zachary Johnson is facing several charges, including possessing a stolen vehicle. Well, police are investigating after someone broke into the home of NASCAR legend Greg Biffle just weeks after his death. Biffle and his family died along with 3 other people in a plane crash in Statesville just before Christmas. Now, Mooresville police say about $30,000 in cash was stolen from his home last week. Investigators also say 2 guns may be missing, as well as NASCAR memorabilia. So far, no arrests have been made. Tomorrow, a public memorial for Biffle is planned at Bojangles Coliseum in Charlotte. Now listen, the number of flu deaths this season in North Carolina has nearly doubled. The State Department of Health and Human Services blaming the virus for 134 deaths. At this point last year, North Carolina had seen 74 flu deaths, and last year turned out to be the deadliest flu season on record.
We've had seasons that peaked early and didn't have a lot of activity in the later half of the season, but we've also had seasons that peaked early and then had a second peak that was even higher than the first. So, because of that, because we can't yet predict really what the flu season is going to look like from this point forward, it makes it particularly important for people to continue to protect themselves.
Now, we do have a sliver of good news to share about the flu season. The number of people in hospitals has fallen sharply in recent weeks. It was a long night for Blue Devils fans. Duke was on the road against ACC foe California in the game that ended around 1 o'clock this morning. Duke ended the first half only up by 2 points, but were able to distance themselves from the Golden Bears in the second half. The sixth-ranked Blue Devils got the win, 71-56. They'll stay in California for their next game against Stanford on Saturday. And speaking of Stanford, they were hosting UNC last night. The Cardinals keeping it close in the first half, only trailing by 2 at the break. UNC was unable to hold that lead in the second half. Stanford coming away with a 95-90 win. UNC will travel to Cal to play their next game Saturday. Well, time now 4:40. School lunch changes. The Trump administration bringing back whole milk. The new law changing Obama-era lunch rules. Also, the cost of climate change. Rising global temperatures could hit your wallet. How supply chains are affected by climate. We are tracking some weekend winter weather. This is a live look over a beautifully decorated Franklinton this morning. After the break, meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner times out our next weather maker.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
444, and I got some more fours on the map for you. Or 45 in Wilson, 43 in Durham, and 45 in Fayetteville. But temperatures over the next couple of hours are likely to drop on down into the 30s, and then we won't recover later on today. So we've already seen the warmest temperature that we're going to see today. The winds are starting to pick up. It's probably hard to see here in the dark, but the whirligigs are spinning around. We're seeing some clearing, and we'll continue to see clearing skies as we head through the morning. Now, check in wind chill. Right now, it's not a big deal really everywhere, but you can start to see it up to the north. It's 36 in Roxborough, feeling like 30. It's 38 in South Hill, feeling like 31. It does feel like 39 in Southern Pines. But as we get through the morning, we're going to see those numbers drop. The wind chill and the temperature are all going to drop. And this is a look at our planner for school. Don't just take it as those mid-40s are going to be the way it feels today. We're likely to drop to freezing by around 9 a.m. or so, and then we keep it in the upper 30s. We're going to talk more about the wind and the cold temperatures, how cold it'll be tomorrow morning coming up.
Elizabeth, thanks. Well, some Cumberland County parents are frustrated after school visit by U.S. Secretary of Education Linda McMahon. She visited Jack Britt High School yesterday as part of a plan to visit schools in all 50 states to promote civics education. Some parents felt the department was too secretive about her visit and were worried it would be too partisan.
They were not public about what they were speaking on and what they were going to do, so it feels as if it's not genuine.
District leaders say this was not a mandatory event for students. They could choose whether they wanted to attend. The Trump administration bringing changes to school lunches. The president signing a bill into law that allows schools in the National School Lunch Program to serve whole and 2% milk again. The higher fat milks have been banned since 2012. The Obama-era policy was put in place to reduce childhood obesity. This change comes just days after the USDA announced a new food pyramid. The new pyramid includes full-fat dairy products as part of a healthy diet. Well, January is Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. The Centers for Disease Control reports about 13,000 women are diagnosed with cervical cancer in the U.S. every year. But gynecological oncologist Dr. Robert DiBernardo says with regular testing, that number could go down.
What's interesting about cervical cancer, unlike many cancers, cervical cancer has a very long precancerous phase, which is why screening is very helpful.
The FDA also recently approved an at-home test kit. Well, there's a hopeful milestone in the fight against cancer. Now, new data shows 7 in 10 people in the U.S. now survive at least 5 years after a cancer diagnosis. By comparison, only about half of cancer patients in the 70s lived 5 years or longer. Doctors say the 5-year mark is critical. The risk of many cancers returning drops significantly after that point. Well, you may not see it in your paycheck right now, but researchers say climate change is already costing you money. Researchers with the University of Arizona analyzing more than 50 years of income and temperature data from across the U.S. The study found climate change has reduced national income by about 12% since the year 2000.
And I think the really striking finding is that we know the weather has changed already, but it's not changing the weather where you live that matters. what really drives up the cost of the economy is changing the weather all around the country all at one time. And that's likely operating through the way counties in the U.S. are connected through trade networks and production networks.
Well, in other words, hotter temperatures in one region can disrupt supply chains, raise prices, and slow income growth in other regions. Those costs build gradually and show up as higher prices and weaker wage growth over time. Well, speaking of the climate, let's get over to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner, the WRAL Severe Weather Center tracking. I can't believe that we've already hit the high this morning.
We have. We're in the mid-40s right now in the Triangle, and that's as warm as it's going to get all day long. Kind of may remind you of Sunday, where it was kind of mild the first part of the day, and then the temperatures dropped. But it was even warmer Sunday. Today is going to be colder than that. 30s for most of the day. That's the way it's going to feel. It'll feel like 20s, though, with the wind chill in some places. We're going to see gusts this afternoon coming back out of the northwest, so that pushes that cold air in with those gusts 25 to 30 miles per hour. And then we're watching Sunday. It all depends on the development of a coastal low. And if that low is close enough to us, then we'll end up seeing precipitation, possibly snow. And if it's farther away, we'll have a lesser chance. And it's too early to tell exactly what the track of that low is going to be, but definitely we have the potential. So we're going to be watching it closely. We do have the top of the tower lit in pink this morning. We have partly cloudy skies out there. Temperature 43 right now, but you can watch sort of the path of what's happening. Temperatures may drop down to freezing around 7 to 9 a.m., and then we won't recover. We're going to keep it in the 30s for the rest of the day. Checking that wind chill again, 30 in Roxborough, 31 South Hill, 39 in Southern Pines. The wind chills are starting to dip into the 30s at this point, and temperatures as well. But at the moment, from the Triangle area southward, we're still looking at mid-40s. This is a look at how it could feel, though. By 9 a.m., 27, and then this afternoon, it could feel like right around freezing, and then back down into the 20s. And we don't stop there. Our temperature overnight is likely to drop into the teens. We're going to see a big push of cold air coming in. You see the purple and white shaded areas. That's Arctic feeling air. A little bit of a break on Saturday. And then by Sunday, we have another push of the cold air. So for Sunday, we know that we're going to have the cold air in place. It's just, will we see the moisture? 52 is our normal high temperature. We're going to see a high on Sunday of 41, 43 on Monday. And again, check out these overnight lows. 19 degrees for tonight. Monday morning, 20, 19 on Tuesday. So we're really settling into a very winter-like feel. Now, we do have the chance of a quick shower on Saturday. Temperatures will be too warm for anything frozen, but we'll get into Sunday in a little bit more detail in just a few minutes.
All right, Elizabeth, look forward to that. Protections from artificial intelligence. Celebrities are trademarking their likeness to prevent deep fakes. The stops Matthew McConaughey just took to eliminate AI imitations. Also, Rocky statue stays. The prop from Rocky 3 will keep a permanent home at the Philadelphia Art Museum, the iconic location, and how movie fans are celebrating. Matthew McConaughey is trying to get ahead of any potential unauthorized AI deepfakes by trademarking himself. The U.S. Patent and Trademark Office approving 8 McConaughey trademarks over the past few months. They include video and audio of the actor, including him saying his famous catchphrase, "All right, all right, all right." The trademarks would give McConaughey standing to sue in federal court. Music and movie news now. We'll look at Paul McCartney's post-Beatles career and a new animated children's film. Here's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
The Beatles have been my whole life, really. When we split up, I thought, I'll never write another note of music ever.
He did, of course. Man on the Run looks at how Paul McCartney followed up the Fab Four by forming Wings with his wife Linda. The documentary by Oscar and Grammy winner Morgan Neville streams on Prime Video February 27th. The bidding is now open for this year's Music Cares charity relief auction. One-of-a-kind items from some of music's biggest stars are on the block, raising money to help music industry professionals who hit rough times. The live auction takes place February 1st, Grammy Sunday, at juliansauctions.com.
Calling all units. We need backup. Wonder Dog! Wonder Dog!
Owen Wilson provides the voice of Charlie the Wonder Dog. The pooch got his powers from the same aliens that turned a cat into a supervillain, and soon they're fighting like, well, you know. Charlie the Wonder Dog zooms into theaters Friday. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
So, movie prop or not, the city of Philadelphia making a permanent home for the Rocky statue. After years of bouncing around into different spots, the original statue will now stay in the same spot where fans first laid eyes on it in Rocky 3. The city says the statue is a big tourist attraction and fits in the museum as a piece of art.
Top of the steps, absolutely, because you got to get up there and have like the moment.
It gives him that same strive that he had. I guess everybody wants to put that same mindset into it and, never give up, get back up.
I've done it. I'm sure many of you have done that run up those Philadelphia Art Museum steps. A shuttle service will bring people to the museum and statue. Sylvester Stallone will get to keep the replica statue, which is good news for him. So listen, Raleigh police involved in an investigation now. We're following breaking news at a shopping center off Capitol Boulevard. What we're learning from the WRAL breaking news tracker as you take a live look at that scene this morning. Also, a second ICE shooting, tensions remaining high in Minneapolis. What led up to the moment a man was shot in the leg by a federal agent. Also, downtown road closures. Your commute around the convention center could look a little different in Raleigh this morning. We'll map out the areas to avoid and best alternate routes.